Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vikantang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitangscha. So continuing with our reading of Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. We're on Madhya Lila and we're just coming to the last portion of chapter 15. So I'll go straight into it, into the midst of things. Coming home, the Bhattacharya, with Shati's mother, blamed himself and said, if he from whom the abuse of Chaitanya Goswami was heard were killed, it would be atonement for the sin. Or if I were to take my own life, but neither is proper, for both are bodies of Brahmanas. But I shall never look upon the face of that reviler again. He is separated from me, and I shall never take his name. Tell Sati that she should abandon this fallen one, for when a husband is fallen, it is necessary to leave him. And so it is said in the Bhagavad Purana 7:11-28. She who is contented, without desire for material things, industrious, knowledgeable about Dharma, whose speech is pleasant and truthful, attentive to all things, pure and pleasant, should worship her husband, if he be not fallen. End of quote. That very night, Amoga fled away somewhere, and in the morning was very ill with cholera. Hearing that Amoga was dying, the Bhattacharya said, the gods are favorable and have done my work. Such is the result of an offense to Ishvara. And so saying, he recited two sayings of the Shastras from Mahabharata. That which we could have done with great effort, with elephants, horses, chariots, and foot soldiers, has been done by the Gandharvas. That is Bhishma to Yudhisthira when the Gandharvas had kidnapped and captured and taken prisoner Duryodhana and his brothers. And again in the Bhagavad, a great offense destroys a man's good fortune, the things which he desires, the rewards of Dharma, his good name, his beauty, and the length of his life. End of quote. Gopinath Acharya went to have darshana of Prabhu, and Prabhu asked him for news of the Bhattacharya. The Acharya, as Gopinath, said, they are both fasting, and Amoga is giving up his life, ill from cholera. Hearing this, Prabhu, full of mercy, ran to him and said to Amoga, putting his hand on his chest, this is the heart of a Brahmana, stainless by its nature, a proper place for Krishna to dwell. Why have you placed in it the Chandala of envy? Why have you made a place of highest purity impure? Because of your association with Sarvabhauma, the impurity has been decreased. If they would wipe away impurity, creatures take the name of Krishna. Rise up, Amoga, speak the name of Krishna, and soon Bhagavan will shed his grace on you. When he heard this, Amoga got up, saying, Krishna, Krishna, and drunken with the madness of prema, he began to dance. He was weeping and trembling, and had gooseflesh, and was sweating in a stupor, and was breathing brokenly. Seeing this, his wave of prema, Prabhu smiled. Holding the feet of Prabhu, he entreated him, forgive my offense, O Prabhu, full of mercy. With this foul mouth I vilified you. And so saying, he began to slap himself on the cheeks. Slapping them, his cheeks became reddened, and Gopinathacharya held his hand and restrained him. Prabhu also consoled him, touching his body. Because of your relationship with Sarvabhauma, you are a vessel for my love. The men and women servants of the house in the house of Sarvabhauma, the dogs in it, are far more dear to me than are other people. The offense is no more. Always take the name of Krishna. And so saying, Prabhu went to the place of Sarvabhauma. When Sarvabhauma saw Prabhu, he held his feet, and Prabhu embraced him and sat upon a seat. Prabhu said, Amoga is a child. What can be his fault? Why do you fast? Why are you angry with him? Rise up and bathe and look upon the face of Jagannatha. Quickly come and eat, and then I will be happy. I shall stay sitting here till then, when you have brought and eaten prasada here. Holding the feet of Prabhu, Bhatta began to say, Amoga should have died. Why did you give him life? Prabhu replied, Amoga is your son. A father does not mind the faults of his son, but is his protector. Now he has become a Vaishnava, and his offense has disappeared. Now be gracious to him. Bhatta said, Prabhu, let us go to have darshan of Ishvara. I shall come when I have bathed. Prabhu said, Gopinath will remain here. When he has taken prasad, give me the news. So saying, Prabhu went to have darshana of Ishvara, and Bhatta bathed and had darshan and ate. Amhoga became a singular bhakta of Prabhu. He danced in prema and took the name of Krishna and was greatly at peace. Such was the wonderful Lila of the son of Sachi, and the minds of those who saw and heard it were struck with wonder. And such was his food episode in the house of Bhatta, and in the course of it he manifested many wonderful deeds. This food episode took place in the house of Sarvabhauma, and his prema for Sarvabhauma became famous, and so too the prema of Shakti's mother, and the grace of Prabhu, and his relations with his bhaktas, by which offences are forgiven. Those who hear this Leela with faith, in brief time gain the feet of Chaitanya. Krishna Das, whose hope and faith lie at the feet of Rupa and Raghunatha, tells of the nectar of the acts of Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Charitamrta. So then Madhya Lila, chapter 16, Gauraramam Gauramegam Sinchan Swalokanamrataihi Pavagni Dagna Janatari Ruddha Samajivayat. The Gaura cloud sprinkled the gardens of Gauda with the nectar of his own brilliance, revived those creepers, all people who were withered in the fire of samsara. Glory, glory to Gaura Chandra, glory to Nityananda, glory to Advaita Chandra, glory to the hosts of Gaura Bhaktas. Prabhu had a desire to go to Vrindavana, and when he heard it, Prataparudra was disturbed. So bringing Sarvabhauma and Ramananda, these two, the king spoke to them in humble words. Prabhu has a mind to leave Niladri and go elsewhere. Turn your attention to keeping him here. Without him, this kingdom would be nothing to me. Try in every way to keep Goswami here. When Prabhu consulted these two, Ramananda and Sarvabhauma, about going to Brindavan, both said, have darshan of the car festival. When Kartik comes, then go. When Kartik came, they said, this month is cold. When you have seen the swing festival, then go. This would be the proper way. In various ways, today, tomorrow, arguments arose, and they did not give their consent for fear of separation. And even though Prabhu was free from any restraint, and nothing could stop him, he could not leave against the wishes of his bhaktas. In the third year, all the bhaktas of Gauda thought to go together to Nilachala. They gathered together and went to Advaita Acharya, and with the Acharya went in delight to see Prabhu. Even though it was the command of Prabhu to stay in Gauda, Nityananda, to manifest his prema bhakti to Prabhu, also went to see Mahaprabhu, who can understand the working of the prema of Nityananda. Acharya Ratna, Vidyanidhi, Srivasa and Ramai, and Vasudeva, Murari and Govinda, these three brothers, and Raghava Pandit, having prepared his own baskets, and the people of Kulinagram with the silken rope went, and those who lived at Kanda, Narahari and Sri Raghunandan, all the bhaktas went. Who could count them? Shivananda Sen made arrangements for the road tolls, and taking care of everyone, he transported them in peace and happiness. He made all arrangements for everyone and found them places to stay. For Shivananda knew well the road to Orissa. That year all the women went to see Prabhu, and the mother of Achyuta went with Acharya. Malini went with Srivas Pandit, and Shivananda took his wife. Shivananda had a son named Chaitanya Dasa, and he went joyfully to see Prabhu. Acharya Ratna's wife went with Acharya. I am unable to describe her prema. All these women, to give alms to Mahaprabhu, took various beloved articles from their own houses for him. Shivananda Sen made the arrangements for them all. As steward of the pilgrims, he cared for them and arranged places for them all to stay. He provided food for them all and in every way cared for them. And in greatest joy they went to have darshana of Prabhu. Coming to Remuna, they had darshana of Gopinatha, and there the Acharya danced and sang. Nityananda was acquainted with all the servants of Gopinatha, and these servants coming there showed his greatest esteem. All the Mahantas remained there for that night, and the servants brought 12 pots of creamy kheera to them. Prabhu Nityananda distributed the kheera to everyone, and the joy of all grew as they received the kheera prasada. The story of Madhurapuri and the establishment of Gopala was told, how Gopala begged sandalwood of him, and how for him Gopinath stole the kheera. This he heard previously from the mouth of Mahaprabhu. This story Nityananda told to them, and when he heard it, the joy grew in the mind of the Acharya. In this way they moved on and came to Kataka. They remained there that day and saw Shakshi Gopala. And Nityananda told the story of Shakshi Gopala, and when they heard it, the joy grew in the minds of the Vaishnavas. In their hearts, they were all anxious to meet Prabhu. So quickly they came to Sri Nilachala. The Goswami, having heard that they had come to Attaranala, sent 2 garlands in the hands of Govinda. The 2 garlands Govinda placed on 2 men. The Advaita and the Avaduta Goswami were very happy. There they began the Krishna Sankirtana, and they moved forward, the 2 men dancing. Again, Satchinandana dispatched Swarupa and others of his own people with garlands, sending them ahead. Coming to Narendra, they met them there, and they put the garlands sent by Mahaprabhu on them all. Gaura Rai, hearing that they approached the Lion Gate, came himself to meet them. He took them to have darshana of Jagannatha, and again came with them to his own place. Vaninath and Kashi Mishra brought prasad, and Prabhu fed the prasad to them all with his own hands. And he sent them to rest in the houses in which they had dwelt the previous year. In this way, the Bhaktas remained for 4 months, having joy in the kirtan with Prabhu. As before, when the time of the car festival came with all the Bhaktas, he washed the Gundicha temple. The dwellers in Kulinagram presented their rope of silk to Jagannatha, and as before danced and sang before the car. And after much dancing, again they went to the garden and rested there on the banks of the pool. There was a Radi Brahmana there, a servant of Nityananda, a most fortunate man, whose name was Krishna Das. He filled pots with water and bathed Prabhu, and with this washing Prabhu was greatly pleased. Much prasada of the Balagandi Bhoga was brought, and Mahaprabhu ate the prasad with them. As they had the year before, they had darshana of the car festival, and he watched the Hora Panchami festival with his bhaktas. How Acharya Goswami sent an invitation to Prabhu, and how the rainstorm came in the course of it, has been detailed in full by Vrindavan Das. Srivas also sent an invitation to Prabhu, and Malini cooked all the curries of which he was fond. She was a servant, profound in her bhakti, and in her affection towards him like a mother. Acharya Ratna and the rest of the chief bhaktas from time to time sent invitations to Prabhu. At the end of the 4 months of the rainy season, again he consulted with Nityananda, sitting always apart from the others. Prabhu spoke to the Acharya Goswami with signs. The Acharya recited riddles, and no one could understand. Looking at his face, the son of Sachi laughed, and knowing his acquiescence, the Acharya danced. What was the request, or what the command? No one knew. Embracing him, Prabhu bade him farewell. Prabhu said to Nityananda, "Hear me, Sripad. This I ask of you. Be gracious. Do not come to Nilachala each rainy season, but remain at Gauda and fulfill my desires. I see no one else who can complete my work there. It is difficult, but by you it will come to pass." Nityananda replied, "I am the body, and you are the breath. The body and its breath are not separate, and this is proof of that. But by unknowable power you cause things to occur. What you would have me do, I do, and there is no restriction." Prabhu embraced him and bade him farewell, and in this way he bade farewell to all the bhaktas. And as before, the men of Kulinagrama made supplication, "Prabhu, tell me what my sadhana and duty should be." Prabhu replied, "The service of Vaishnavas and Nam Sankirtana. Do these things, and you will quickly gain the feet of Sri Krishna." They replied, "Who are Vaishnavas? What are the signs of them?" And Prabhu knew what was in their minds, and smiled and said, "In whose mouth is always the name of Krishna, he is the best of Vaishnavas. Worship his feet." They asked the same question again and again at the end of each rainy season, and Prabhu taught them the distinctions among Vaishnavas. At the sight of whom the name of Krishna comes into the mouth, know him to be the best among Vaishnavas. And gradually Prabhu explained the signs of Vaishnavas. There are Vaishnavas, and better Vaishnavas, and superior Vaishnavas. And so all the Vaishnavas returned to Gauda, and that year Vidyanidhi remained at Niladri. He was a beloved friend of Swarupa, and the two of them stayed in one place and talked together of Krishna. And there he again gave a mantra to Gadadhar Pandit, and watched the festival on the day of Ordani Shashti. At that time Jagannath wore stained cloth, and when he saw it, the heart of Vidyanidhi was filled with disgust. That night Jagannath and Balai came, and the two brothers slapped him, laughing and laughing. His cheeks swelled up, but the Acharya was happy in his heart, as Vrindavan Das has told in detail. In this way, the Bhaktas of Gauda came every year and stayed with Prabhu and had darshana of the festival. In some years, the rainy season was special. Later on, I shall tell of those incidents in detail. In this way, Mahaprabhu passed 4 years, and it took 2 years to come and go on his journey to the north. He wanted to go for 2 years to Vrindavana, but was not able to go, stayed by the hand of Ramananda. In the 5th year, the Bhaktas of Gauda came, but having seen the car, they did not stay, but returned to Gauda. Then Prabhu, in the place of Sarvabhauma and Ramananda, embraced them and said in sweet words, I am very anxious to go to Vrindavana, but did not get these 2 years, but did not go these 2 years because you forbade me. But I certainly must go, and both of you must agree, for apart from you both I have no other recourse. In Gauda I have two objects of reverence, my mother and the Jannavi, these two, full of mercy. So I shall go through Gauda country to see them. Both of you may be gracious and give me your consent. When they heard, both considered the words of Prabhu and thought that it was not good to put obstructions in his way. And they both said, now it is the rainy season, and you will not be able to travel. When Vijayadashami comes, then certainly you will go. So Mahaprabhu passed the rainy season in delight, and on the day of Vijayadashami he started on his journey. As much of the prasada of Jagannath as he had gotten, sandalwood, and had been offered as prasad, and silken rope, all these Prabhu took with him. Requesting permission of Jagannatha, he left in the morning. The Odia Bhaktas followed behind him, but gently Prabhu dissuaded them, and he came with his own Bhaktas to Bhavanipura. Ramananda came behind him, riding in a palanquin, and Vaninath sent him much prasada. He remained there and ate the prasada, and in the morning Prabhu journeyed on to Bhuvaneshwara. He came to Katak and there had darshan of Gopala, and the Brahmin Swapneshwara invited him. Ramananda Rai invited all his followers, and Prabhu came and stayed in an outside garden. When he had eaten, he rested under a bakula tree, and Rai made a trip to see Prataparudra. When he heard, the king was overjoyed and quickly came, and when he saw Prabhu, he fell to the ground in obeisance. Again he rose, and again he fell, overcome with love. He praised him. His body filled with gooseflesh, and tears flowed from his eyes. When he saw his devotion, the heart of Prabhu was delighted, and Mahaprabhu raised him up and embraced him. The king bowed again and praised him, and his body was bathed with the tears of the mercy of Prabhu. When he was again calm, Ramananda seated the king, and Prabhu granted him grace with speech and mind and body. Thus, Gauradhama manifested his mercy to him, and because of this, he has the name Savior of Prataparudra, as Prataparudra Santrata. The ministers of the king made obeisance to Prabhu, and the son of Sachi bade the king farewell. On going outside, the king caused letters to be written, and he sent them to all the wealthy people in his own kingdom. You will make new houses in each of your own villages, and you will fill 5 or 7 new houses with goods. You yourselves will take Prabhu there. Day and night you will remain at his service with staffs in your hands. There were 2 chief ministers, Harichandana and Mardaraja. And the king commanded them, do all these things. Bring a new boat and moor it on the bank of the river. After he has bathed, Prabhu will cross the river in it. Erect a pillar there, making it a great pilgrimage place. I shall bathe there every day, and I hope that I may die there. Build the best of new houses at Chaturdwara. Ramananda, go be with Mahaprabhu. The king heard that Prabhu would depart in the evening. He told the women to climb into tents on the backs of elephants, and they stood in rows along the path that Prabhu would take. And in the evening, Prabhu departed, taking his own people. Coming to Chitrotpala river, he bathed at the ghat, and when they saw him, all the queens bowed in respect. At the sight of Prabhu, all were filled with prema, and they said, Krishna, Krishna, with tears rolling from their eyes. I have never heard of such a merciful one in all the three worlds. The sight of him from a distance, one becomes a woman in love with Krishna. Boarding the boat, Prabhu crossed the river, and as the night was filled with stars, he moved on to Chaturdwara. He stayed there the night, and in the morning he bathed and performed morning ritual, and at that time Mahaprasada came from Jagannatha. By the order of the king, the temple servants sent it every day. Much prasad was brought by many people. Prabhu ate the prasada with his own people, and getting up, Prabhu started off, saying, Hari Hari. Ramananda, Mardaraja, and Sri Harichandana, these three, went with him and served him. And with Prabhu were Puri Goswami and Swarup Damodar, Jagadananda, Mukunda, Govinda, and Kashishwara. And Haridas Thakur was there, and Vakreshwara Pandit, and Gopinath Acharya, and Damodar Pandit, and Ramai, and Nandai, and many bhaktas. The chief among them have been mentioned, who could count them all. When Gadadhara Pandit went with him, Prabhu forbade him, do not abandon your kshetra sannyas. The Pandit replied, where you are, there is Nilachala. Let my kshetra sannyasa go to hell. Prabhu said, stay here and serve Gopinath. And Pandit replied, a crore of services is the sight of your feet. Prabhu said, if you abandon your service, the fault will accrue to me. Stay on here and keep on with your service, and I will be happy. Pandit replied, all faults are on me, and if I do not go with you, I shall go alone. I shall go to see the mother. I shall not go for your sake, and the fault of abandoning service and vows, I am responsible for it. So saying, the Pandit went separately, and when he arrived at Kataka, Prabhu brought him along with him. The prema which the Pandit had for Chaitanya cannot be understood, for he broke his promise of service to Sri Krishna like a blade of grass. Prabhu was delighted in his heart at his actions, and taking him by the hand, he said with false anger, to leave your vows and service. That was your intention, and you have brought it about. You have abandoned them to come to a distant country. You want to remain with me. You desire your own satisfaction, but your two dharmas are destroyed, and this is sorrow to me. If you want my happiness, go to Nilachala. This is my oath. Say nothing more. So saying, Mahaprabhu boarded the boat. The Pandit fainted and fell down there. He gave instructions to Sarvabhauma to take the Pandit and go, and Bhattacharya said, rise up. Such is the Lila of Prabhu. You know that Krishna himself broke his word and, controlled by grace to his bhakta, kept the word of Bhishma. And so in Bhagavat Purana, he who was standing on the chariot abandoned his own determination in order to execute his promise to me, descended from the chariot with the discus in hand, and like a lion toward an elephant rushed toward me. The earth trembled at his steps, and the upper cloth was loosened from his body. End of quote. In this way, Prabhu is enduring separation from you, and has taken care to preserve your vow. Speaking in this way, he consoled him, and the two in grief and sorrow returned to Nilachala. Bhaktas abandon dharma and karma for the sake of Prabhu. Prabhu cannot endure the bhaktas bereft of dharma. Those who hear this variety of prema are soon joined to the feet of Chaitanya. Jai Gaur, Jai Nitai.
Joy Haribol. Um, it's
So,
I'm going to I'm just reminding everybody that I'm going to have to leave at 12 in 20 minutes. And I don't know how that long that's going to be. So I'll just leave everything going. And
mhm.
Guna, I've got you on mute or I'm going to have to do your video thing for you now to get you out because you couldn't do it yourself. So I got to hold on a minute. I should
Unmuzzle her.
I should just put it on. Okay. You're on mute now at the moment. Oh, there's Madhav.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Have you
How are
figured out how to do the video? Hi, Madhavji.
Radhe, Radhe.
Radhe,
How
Radhe.
are you?
Me, I'm really good. I'm going to have a conversation halfway through with the headmaster of Subhash's school in Delhi. And you
Nice.
never know, I could be off on a plane to India in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Wow.
We're
Yeah,
recording, so let's
yeah,
save the
Yeah.
details for later.
yeah. Sorry, I
You
should
know
have put
where
that.
we are, Guna?
No, I'm lost now after
Okay,
all
it's
this.
page 573,
Yeah.
and it's the paragraph that starts 148.
Just so everybody knows, we now have a copy of this book gifted by a very beautiful devotee of Radha and Krishna. I'll say no more.
Okay. How beautiful. Isn't
Nice.
that? Hey, my
Yeah,
God.
look, it's the real thing.
It's the real thing.
That's nice. Somebody loves you.
That looks really, that's a
Somebody loves us.
Guna, if you just put your camera so your head is more in the center of the frame rather than
Bloody hell.
because it looks bloody good over the plants. It looks very nice.
Is that better with or without?
No, that's great. That's a lovely frame. That, yeah. I would move your head so a bit over because you got, like to, that to the door. So it's just that.
So
Yeah,
you can't see the door?
just like you have to have it framed well.
Better?
I think it was just good just a moment ago. Anyway, it's a bit in front of your face now. Okay. The plant is just like that's it.
The
Okay.
words.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
good.
words ultimately.
Okay, it's all right. Okay,
Better?
fantastic.
Okay, so
Well,
starting
no, I wouldn't have all
148.
the rest of the kitchen stuff. Go to the edge of the cupboard. Yeah, just move it over.
Look back
No,
that
no, the
way.
camera, not you, the camera.
You're turning the phone, Guna, not the bloody
Yeah, that's
keyboard.
it. Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
And now I've got
good.
a chair.
Get that out the way. That
Okay.
looks very
Madam, you're going to
formal.
have to edit all of this out.
I should have put it on pause. Anyway, so I'm going to leave you in 20 minutes. Okay, so have you figured out how to do your video thing yourself?
Yeah, Madhav showed me now.
Okay. So if I go away, you're all in control. Okay, I'm going to back out now. So I forget
Okay.
about me for the next hour until I reappear.
But
Okay.
why doesn't Guna just read until you have to go and then
Well, I can swap back with Madam.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
Dina, does Dina have this?
Yeah, Dina's got the book.
you could
Dina,
do. Yeah, I have no. Everybody can do their own kind of muting
yeah.
videos. Okay.
Go on for about half an hour, and then Dina, half an hour.
Great.
nice?
I can listen to the recording later after everything that. So anyway, hoodie bowl, hoodie bowl.
Haribo. When they reached Yajapura, Prabhu bade farewell to the two royal ministers who were with him. Prabhu bade farewell to Roy also, but he went with him, and Prabhu spent days and nights with Ramananda in speaking of Krishna. In each village, because of the order of the king, the servants of the king served him with various goods in new houses. And in this way, Prabhu came to Ramuna, and at that place he took his leave of Ramananda Roy. Roy fell on the earth unconscious, and Prabhu took Roy into his lap and wept. The story of the parting with Roy cannot be told. I cannot describe it fully. So Prabhu came to the border of Andhra Pradesh, and there the Adhikari of the king met him. For 2 or 4 days he served him there. And before Prabhu went further, he advised him in this way: the lands ahead are those of a drunken Yavana king, and for fear of him, no one goes along the path. He controls all the lands up to Pichalada, and for fear of him, no one can cross the river. Stay here a few days. Let me make an agreement with him. Then I will arrange that you proceed by boat in peace. At that time, there was a spy at that Yavana, disguised as an Odia. He had come to Katak. When he saw the wonderful actions of Prabhu, that Hindu spy went to the Yavana and said, a sannyasin has come from Jagannath, and many perfected men are with him. All of them are constantly singing Krishna Sankirtan, and they all laugh and dance and sing and weep. Lakhs and lakhs of people go to see him, and when they see him, they are not able to go home again. All those people are as if mad, saying Krishna. They dance and weep and roll around on the ground. It cannot be described, but if you saw it, you would know. In his own true nature, I revere him as Ishwara. So saying, that spy sang Hare Krishna and laughed and wept and danced and sang as if mad. When he heard this, the heart of the Yavana was turned, and he sent his own faithful man to Prabhu. The faithful servant came and bowed to the feet of Prabhu, and overcome with prema, said, Krishna, Krishna. When he had recovered himself, he bowed and said to the Adir, the Mlecha Lord has sent me to you. If you give permission, the Yavana Lord will come here to meet Prabhu. He is very anxious and entreats you humbly. This is his treaty with you. Have no fear of war. When he heard this, the minister was astonished. Who could bring the mind of a drunken Yavana to this? Mahaprabhu himself caused his mind to change, who saves the world by his darshan and the sound of his voice. So saying, he said to the faithful servant, he is most fortunate. Let him come and have darshan of Prabhu. We will trust him if he comes unarmed. So let him come, bringing 5 or 7 servants with him. So the faithful servant went and told him all, and the Yavana donned the dress of a Hindu and came. What?
Yes, sorry. Read.
I can't hear myself. Seeing Prabhu from a distance, he fell to the earth. Falling prostrate, he wept, with goose flesh on his body. The minister brought him forward respectfully, and with palms pressed together, he took the name of Krishna before Prabhu. Why was my birth in a low Yavana family? Why did not fate cause me to be born in a Hindu family? If I were a Hindu, I could gain the wealth of the proximity of your feet. This body of mine is useless. Let my life go. When he heard this, the minister was overcome, and holding the feet of Prabhu, he praised him. At the hearing of whose holy name a Chandala is purified, this Jiva has gained the sight of such as you. What is there astonishing in what has happened to this man? For such is the power of the sight of you. Bhagavat Purana 3:33-6. O Bhagavan, when at any time by singing and hearing sung your name, or meditating on it, Even dog-eaters can be worthy to offer sacrifice. How much more is gained by seeing you? Then Mahaprabhu looked with mercy on him, and encouraging him, he said, "Say Krishna Hari." And he said, "If you agree, give me the command that I serve you. I have harmed innumerable cows and brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Let me be released from that sin." Then Mukundadatta said, "Listen, sir, Mahaprabhu wants to go to the bank of the Ganga. Give him your help in going there. This is an important command, and that will be a great service." Then he bowed to the feet of Mahaprabhu and bowed to the feet of all of them and went in delight. He and the minister then embraced each other, exchanging many gifts. They became friends. In the morning, he prepared many boats, and he sent his faithful servant to bring Prabhu. The minister went there with Mahaprabhu, and the mlecha came and made obeisance to Prabhu's feet. There was a new boat with a cabin in the middle, and Prabhu, with his own people, boarded it. Mahaprabhu bade farewell to the minister, who remained watching and weeping on the bank. Because of fear of pirates, the Yavana also went and brought with him 10 boats filled with soldiers. They crossed the dangerous Mantrashara river, and the Yavana went with them up to Pichalada. At that village, Prabhu bade him farewell, and I cannot describe his actions and prema at that time. Such was the unworldly Lila of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and he who hears it is blessed in body and in birth. Again boarding the boat, Prabhu came to Panihati, and he gave the boatman the blessing of his own clothing to wear. There was a great tumult of people saying, "Prabhu has come," and people covered everything, water and land. Raghava Pandit came to take Prabhu, and while they were going along the path, there was a great crowd of people, and they proceeded with great difficulty. For one day, Prabhu made his dwelling there, and in the morning left for Kumarahata, where Srinivas was. From there, he proceeded to the house of Shivananda, and afterwards, Ishwara came to the house of Vasudev. In that way, Prabhu stayed in the house of Vachaspati, and because of fear of the crowds of people, he came to Kulia. There, the son of Shachi was in the house of Madhavadas, and a crore of lakhs of people had darshan of him there. Staying there for 7 days, he saved people, and he saved all those who were somehow opposed to him. In that way, he came to the house of the Acharya in Shantipur, and in his reunion with his mother Shachi, he caused her grief to be dispelled. From there, Prabhu proceeded to Golda, and thence to Ramakaligram. There he met Rup and Sanatan, and Narasimhananda decorated the path. All these things I describe in sutras, and how we went and came back again from Natashala. For fear of the crowds of people, he did not go to Vrindavan. Again, he returned to Shantipur and stayed there for 10 days. Vrindavan Das has described all this in detail. Thus, there is no need to expand on it, for if it is repeated again, the book will grow too large. When Prabhu returned to Shantipur again, Raghunath Das came and met him there. Hiranya and Govardhan were the names of 2 brothers, and they were lords of 12 lakhs of rupees in Saptagram. They were immensely wealthy and charitable, and they revered Brahmanas. Their actions were good. They were of excellent family, followers of Dharma, and first in qualities. They were primary supports of the Brahmanas who lived in Nadia, and they helped them with wealth and lands and villages. Nilambar Chakravarti was revered by them both, and Chakravarti treated them both as his own brothers. Formerly, they had served Purandar Mishra, and thus both knew Prabhu well. Raghunath was the son of Govardhan. From boyhood, he was indifferent to worldly things. When Prabhu came to Shantipur, after taking sannyas, then Raghunath came to meet Prabhu. He fell at the feet of Prabhu, overcome with praying, and Prabhu showed him his mercy by the touch of his feet. His father always served the Acharya, and thus the Acharya was favourable towards him. And by the grace of the Acharya, he got the food that remained on the plate of Prabhu, and he gazed at the feet of Prabhu for 5 or 7 days. Then Prabhu bade him farewell and went to Nilachala, and returning to his house, he was mad with prema. Again and again he fled to go to Niladri, but his father caught him and brought him back from the road. 5 foot soldiers guarded him day and night, and 4 servants and 2 brahmanas remained with him. These 11 people watched him constantly. He did not get to go to Nilachala, and he was heartbroken. Now, when Mahaprabhu came to Shantipura, he heard of it, and Raghunath beseeched his father, "Give me your permission. Let me go and see the feet of Prabhu. Otherwise, the life will not remain in my body." When he heard this, his father gave him many people and goods, and sent him off, saying, "Come back quickly." He remained with Prabhu in Shantipur for 7 days, and day and night he spoke of what was in his heart. How shall I escape from the hands of the watchmen? How shall I go with Prabhu to Nilachal? The all-knowing Gauranga Prabhu knew what was in his heart, and for teaching him, he offered him words of hope. Go and stay peacefully at home. Do not be mad. Only gradually do people gain the shore of the sea of the world. Do not show people outward renunciation, but as is appropriate, enjoy worldly things without attachment to them. Be steadfast in your heart, and outwardly do the work of the world, and soon Krishna will rescue you. When I have seen Vrindavan and returned to Nilachal, then by some pretext you will come to my side. At that time, Krishna will reveal the pretext to you, and who can stay with him who has the grace of Krishna. So saying, Mahaprabhu bade farewell to him, and he returned home and acted as Prabhu had taught. His external renunciation and his madness, all these he left, and he did appropriate work without attachment. When they saw this, his father and mother were very happy, and his restraints were a little relaxed. Now Prabhu summoned all his bhaktas to one place, Advaita and Nityananda and the rest, all the bhaktas who were there. Embracing them all, Goswami said, "All of you give me your leave, and I shall go to Nilachal. I have met you all here, so this rainy season no one should journey to Niladri. From there I shall certainly go to Vrindavan. With your leave, I shall come from there without difficulty." Holding the feet of his mother with great humility, He begged her permission to go to Vrindavan, and then he sent her to Navadvip and went to Niladri, taking his bhaktas with him. All the people served him on the path, and in happiness the son of Shachi returned to Nilachal. When Prabhu came, he had darshan of Jagannath, and there was a great commotion in the town. Mahaprabhu has come. In delight, the bhaktas came to meet him, and Prabhu embraced them all in prema. Kashi Mishra, Ramananda, Pradyumna, Sarvabhauma, Baninath, Shiki, and all the rest of the bhaktas. Gadadhar Pandit came to meet Prabhu, and before them all, Prabhu began to speak. I intended to go to Vrindavan through the Golda country to see the feet of my mother and the Ganga. With this in mind, I started off for Golda. My own bhaktas were there in thousands, and lakhs of people came in curiosity to see. And because of the crush of people, I was not able to walk along the path. Wherever I stayed, the walls of the houses were pulverized, and wherever my eyes fell, the place was full of people. With great difficulty, I went to Ram Kaligram, and there 2 people came to my place, Rupa and Sanatan by name. These 2 brothers are kings among bhaktas and vessels of the grace of Krishna. By occupation, they are officials of the king, his chief ministers. In knowledge, in devotion, in wisdom, and in strength, they are preeminent, but they consider themselves less than straw. Seeing and hearing their humility, a stone would break. And I was pleased with them, and I said to them both, "You consider yourselves the lowest of the low. Soon Krishna will rescue you." So saying, when I bade farewell to them, at the time of parting, Sanatan spoke this enigmatic thing to me. One with whom a lakhs and crores of people is not ready for a journey to Vrindavan. But I only heard this, I paid no attention to it, and in the morning I came to the village of Kanera Natashala. In the night I reflected on it in my mind. Was this a riddle that Sanatana spoke to me? He has spoken the truth. There are so many people with me that when they see me, people will say, "This is an affectation." Vrindavan is difficult of access and lonely and hard to get to. I should go alone or with one man. Madhavapuri went there alone, and in the guise of the giving of milk, Krishna appeared to him. But I would go there like a magician performing his magic. One should not go to Vrindavan with many people. I should go to Vrindavan all alone, yet I was going with an army beating drums. Saying to myself, "Shame on you," I became distraught, and I turned around and came back again to the banks of the Ganga. I came and sent the bhaktas each to his own place, and I came here with 5 or 6 people in all with me. May I now go to Vrindavan without hindrance? Be gracious, all of you consult together and give me your advice. I abandoned Gadadhar, and he was pained. For that reason, I may not be able to go to Vrindavan. Then Gadadhar Pandit was overcome with prema, and holding the feet of Prabhu, he entreated him, "Wherever you stay, there Vrindavan is. There are the Yamuna and Ganga and all the Tirthas. Then go to Vrindavan to teach people. You will do whatever is in your mind. But before us are the 4 months of the rainy season. Prabhu, Stay those 4 months at Nilachal. Afterwards, do whatever is in your mind. Stay or go according to your own wish. Who can prevent it? When they heard this, all the Bhaktas said at the feet of Prabhu, "What Pandit has entreated you to do is the wish of all." So, according to the wish of them all, Prabhu remained there 4 months, and when he heard of it, Prataparudra was overjoyed. That day, Gadadhar made him an invitation, and Prabhu took food there with his Bhaktas. The affection of Pandit at that meal, and Prabhu's tasting of it, these 2 things are not within the power of man to describe. In this way, the Leelas of Gaura are unparalleled and infinite. I have spoken of them in brief. Detailing them cannot be done. Though Ananta himself speaks with 1,000 mouths, still he could not reach the end of the Leela of a single day. Krishnadas, whose hope and faith lie at the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, tells of the nectar of the acts of Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Charitamrta. Dina?
Jayanitai.
Jayanitai.
Which
All right.
chapter have you just finished? Have we?
I've just finished 16, starting chapter 17.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh.
Mm.
Okay. Do. Lovely. Here we go.
You can mute.
I don't see you, Dina.
Yeah, I'm coming on board now.
Okay, I'm going.
You can mute.
Yeah. Oops. And greetings, everybody. Jayanitai.
Jayanitai. Go up till 25-2, yeah?
Okay.
You're really lucky. You've been rewarded for your patience.
Acha.
Huh.
Mahaprabhu Gaman, Vrindavan Gamana. On his way to Vrindavan. Just get that. Make a little cushion seat. Make the asana. So chapter 17 of the Madhya Lila, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura, in the forest on his way to Vrindavan, made the tigers, elephants, deer and birds crazed with prema, and they uttered the name of Krishna and danced together. Glory, glory to Gaura Chandra, glory to Nityananda, glory to Advaita Chandra and the hosts of Gaura Bhaktas. Jaya Advaita Chandra Prabhu Avibhav Titi Ki Jai. In the autumn, it came to Prabhu's mind to go, and in the scheduled place, secluded place, he consulted with Sarup and Ramananda. If you two help me, I shall go and see Sri Vrindavan. I shall arise in the night and flee along the forest path. I shall go alone and take no one with me at all. Lest anyone wants to join me and runs along the path after me, you keep them all here that no one shall go. Be gracious and give me your permission, and do not be sorrowful, for in the happiness of all of you, I shall be happy on the way. The two said, you are the non-dependent Ishvara. You will do whatever you wish to do, not dependent on any other. But listen to a request from the two of us. In your happiness is my happiness. This you yourself had said. In the hearts of all of us, there is great happiness. Our request is this. Do you take a good man? Take with you a brahmana of highest quality. This is what we would desire. He will beg and give you food and carry your water pot. As you go along the forest path, there are no brahmanas to cook food. So agree and take a Brahmana with you. Prabhu replied, I shall take none of my own companions. If you took one, the hearts of all the others would be very heavy. It will be a new companion, and one whose heart is absorbed in love. If I find such a one, I shall take him with me. Swarup said, there is Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who is greatly devoted to you, and who is learned and pure and simple. He came with you first from Gauda, and he desires to visit all the tirthas. With him, there is a Brahmin servant, and he will serve you on the way, begging and doing other things. If you would take him with you, everyone would be happy, for there would be no difficulty for you as you go along the forest path. This Brahmana will carry your clothes and water pot, and Bhattacharya will beg for you, going from door to door. Prabhu agreed to his words, and he took Balabhadra Bhattacharya with him. In the deep of night, he went to see Jagannath and took his permission. And toward the end of the night, Prabhu arose and went secretly. In the morning, the bhaktas did not see Prabhu. They searched everywhere, very disturbed. Swarup Goswami explained it to them all and dissuaded them from following and kept them there, knowing the mind of Prabhu. Leaving the well-known roads, Prabhu went along the side paths, keeping Katak on his right. He entered the forest. Prabhu went through the lonely forest, taking the name of Krishna. And when they saw Prabhu, the elephants and tigers left the path. In packs were tigers and boars and rhinoceroses and herds of elephants. And absorbed, Prabhu moved among them. When he saw them, great fear arose in the heart of Bhattacharya, but because of the power of Prabhu, they remained to one side. One day, a tiger was lying on the path, and Prabhu, absorbed, stepped on its body. Prabhu said, Krishna, Krishna, arising the tiger, and the tiger got up and saying, Krishna, Krishna. The tiger began to dance. Another day, Prabhu was bathing in a river when a herd of rut elephants came to drink water there. As the elephants came before him, Prabhu splashed water on them, saying, say the name of Krishna, bol, Krishna, bol. Those whose bodies were touched with the tiniest drop of water said, Krishna, Krishna, and danced and sang in praying. Some fell to the earth, the others trumpeted. And watching all this, the mind of Bhattacharya was astonished. Prabhu was going along the path, loudly singing Sankirtan. Hearing the sound of this honeyed voice, some does come. Hearing the sound, they accompanied Prabhu on the left and right, and Prabhu stroked their bodies in delight and recited a shloka from the Bhagavad Purana 10.21.11. Though they are dumb animals, all these does are blessed. For hearing the sound of the flute, they worship with this deer, with glances full of love, the son of Nanda, adorned in various ways. End of quote. At that time, 5 or 7 tigers came to that place, and the tigers and deer together went with Mahaprabhu. And when he saw that, Mahaprabhu remembered Vrindavan, and he recited a shloka describing the qualities of Vrindavan from the Bhagavad Purana 10.13.60. He drove out anger, thirst, etc. from the place of the unconquerable one, and in that place the natural enmity among men and among deer and so on was dispelled, and the men and beasts lived in friendship with one another. End of quote. When Prabhu said, Bol Krishna Bol, the tigers and deer said, Krishna, and began to dance. The tigers danced and wept with the deer, and Balabhadra Bhattacharya was astonished when he saw it. The tigers and the deer embraced each other, and mouth to mouth they kissed each other. As he watched this play, Prabhu began to laugh, and leaving them all, he went there on his way. Peacocks and other birds, seeing Prabhu, went with him saying Krishna and dancing, drunken. And Prabhu cried, Hari Bol, in a loud voice. The creepers on the trees blossomed, hearing that sound. As many things moving and unmoving as there were in Jharkhand were drunk with prem by the name of Krishna. Whatever village he passed through and wherever he stayed, prema bhakti was aroused in the people of all those villages. And when anyone heard the name of Krishna from his mouth, another heard it. And from his another mouth, let me get that right. And everyone saying Krishna, Hari, danced and wept. Sorry, let me repeat that. And when anyone heard the name of Krishna from his mouth another heard it, and from his mouth another, and everyone saying Krishna, Hari, dance and wept and sang. And throughout the country, all became Vaishnavas. Even though Prabhu was in fear of the crowds of people and kept prem hidden and did not manifest it outwardly, still, affected by hearing him and by the sight of him, all the people of the country became Vaishnavas. He had gone to Goda, Vanga, Utkala, and to the south, and wherever he had wandered, he saved people. Under the pretext of going to Mathura, he had come to Jharkhand, where people were irreligious like Bilas. He saved them all by means of the name and praying. Who has the power to understand the profundity of the Lila of Chaitanya? And when he saw the forest, he mistook it for Vrindavan. And when he saw the mountains, he thought, this is Govardhan. Wherever he saw a river, he thought it the Kalindi. And there, overcome with prem, Prabhu danced and fell weeping. While going along the path, Bhattacharya found vegetables and roots and fruit. Whatever he could get anywhere, he took. In whatever village Prabhu rested, there 5 or 7 brahmanas would come and offer him invitations. And some people would bring rice and give it to Bhattacharya, and some brought milk and curd, and some brought ghee and kanda. Where there were no brahmanas, there were worthy sudras, and coming, they all offered invitations to Bhattacharya. Bhattacharya cooked curries with things of the forest, and with the forest curry, Prabhu was much delighted. Bhattacharya gathered food for 2 or 4 days and kept it. And when they were in the deep forest, where no one lived, Bhattacharya would cook that food. He made curry with roots and fruits and many vegetables of the forest. Prabhu would eat in the forest in highest delight. And on those days, there were no people, he found great happiness. Bhattacharya served him in affection, like a servant, and his Brahman carried the water vessel and outer clothing. He bathed 3 times a day in water of warm springs, and in the morning, in the evening, in the warmth of the fire, for wood was plentiful. So overcome with infinite prem, he proceeded alone, and experiencing great happiness, Prabhu said, "Hear me, Bhattacharya. I have gone to many lands, but nowhere have I found the tiniest bit of happiness. I have on this forest path. The merciful Krishna has been very gracious to me, and bringing me on this forest path has brought me much happiness. Before I made plans to go to Vrindavan so that I could see once more my mother and the Ganga and the Bhaktas, I was going to meet my Bhaktas and take them with me to Vrindavan. And thinking this, I made my way to Goda. And when I saw my mother and the Ganga and the Bhaktas, I was happy. But as I was going along in delight with the Bhaktas, crores of lakhs of people were there with me. Krishna instructed me through the mouth of Sanatan and obstructed that journey and brought me along this forest path. He is an ocean of mercy, full of compassion for the lowly and humble. For without the mercy of Krishna, there would be none of this happiness. Embracing Bhattacharya, he said to him, "It is by your grace that I have found so much happiness." Bhattacharya said, "You are Krishna. You are full of compassion. I am a lowly jiva to whom you have been merciful. I am as ashes, and you have taken me with you, and in your mercy you have taken food from my hand. You have made a lowly crow to be like a Garuda. You are self-willed Ishvara. You are Swayam Bhagavan." Sridhar Swami quotes in his Bhava Artik Dipika commentary on Bhagavat Purana 111, "Whose mercy makes the dumb man eloquent and the lame man cross over the mountains. I bow to that. Paramananda Madhava. Ya Kuroti Vachalam Pangulam Gayate Girim Yakripa Tamaham Bande Shri Paramana Shri Guru Vandanam Paramananda Madhava." In this way, Balabhadra praised him and served him in prem and made the heart of Prabhu satisfied. In this way, in great delight, Prabhu came to Kashi and came to the Manikarnika to bathe at midday. At that time, Tapan Mishra was bathing in the Ganga, and he was so astonished to see Prabhu there. "I heard before that Prabhu has taken sannyas," so he reflected. With delight in his heart, holding the feet of Prabhu, he wept aloud, and Prabhu raised him up and embraced him. He took Prabhu to have darshan of Vishveshwara, and with him went to see the feet of Bindu Madhava. And then in great delight, he took Prabhu to his house, and having him served there, he danced, waving a cloth. With his family, he took the water of the feet of Prabhu and honored Bhattacharya with puja. Offering Prabhu an invitation, he fed him at his house and had Balabhadra Bhattacharya cook. After he had eaten, Mahaprabhu lay down to rest, and Mishra's son Raghu massaged his feet. Mishra and his family ate the food left by Prabhu. And having heard that Prabhu had come, Chandrasekhar came. He was a friend of Mishra and a servant of Prabhu from long ago. He was a Vaidya by caste, a scribe by profession, and dwelt at Varanasi. When he came, he fell at the feet of Prabhu and wept aloud, and Prabhu raised him up and embraced him in his mercy. Chandrasekhara said, "Prabhu, you have shown great mercy, that you yourself have come and given darshan to your servant. As a result of my own karma, I live at this place, Varanasi, where my ears hear nothing but the words Maya and Brahma. Here there is no discussion except of the 6 systems of philosophy, though Mishra, being merciful, speaks to me of Krishna. Okay. We both think always of your feet, and now you, the omniscient Ishvara, have given darshan. Listen, Mahaprabhu, you will go to Sri Vrindavan, but stay here a few days and save these 2, your servants." And Mishra added, "Prabhu, as long as you stay in Kashi, honor no invitation other than my own." In this way, Mahaprabhu, controlled by his 2 servants, though he had no desire to, remained there 10 days. A Maharashtrian Brahmin came to see Prabhu, and when he saw the form and the prem of Prabhu, he was astonished. The Brahmana invited them all, but Prabhu would not accept. Prabhu would say, "Today I have accepted an invitation." In this way, he deceived them every day. In fear of having to associate with sannyasins, he honored no invitations. Shripad Prakashananda was sitting in an assembly, and he taught Vedanta to many students. One Brahmana came and saw the activities of Prabhu and went and spoke of his actions to Prakashananda. A sannyasin has come from Jagannath, and I cannot describe his greatness and power. His body is huge. His color is that of pure gold. He has arms reaching to his knees and eyes like lotuses. He has all the marks of Ishvara, and seeing all these on him was a matter of wonder to me. When I saw him, I knew this is Narayan, and whoever sees him makes Krishna Sankirtanam. I have heard in the Bhagavat the signs of a Maha-Bhagavat, and all those signs are manifested in him. His tongue eternally sings the name of Krishna, and the tears flow from his two eyes like streams of the Ganga. Sometimes he dances and laughs and sings, and sometimes weeps and sometimes shouts, and sometimes roars like a lion. He is a blessing to the earth, and his name is Krishna Chaitanya. And his name and form and qualities are all unequaled. Seeing him, I knew that this is the way of Ishvara, but hearing these transcendent things, who can believe them? When he heard this, Prakashananda laughed greatly, and smiling at the Brahmana, he began to speak. I have heard of this emotional sannyasi of Gauda. He is a pupil of Keshava Bharati and a deceiver of people. His name is Chaitanya, and he has with him some emotionalists, and they wander from this country and that country and village to village, dancing. Whoever sees him calls him Ishvara, but this is the power of deception. Whoever sees him is enchanted. There is a powerful pandit, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and I have heard that he has become mad in the company of Chaitanya. Only in name is he a sannyasi. He is a great sorcerer, but his powers of enchantment will gain him nothing in Kashipur. Listen to the Vedanta. Don't go near him. In the company of such selfish people, the two worlds are destroyed. When he heard this, the Brahmana was very disturbed, and saying, Krishna, Krishna, he got up and went from the place. By the mere darshan of Chaitanya, had his heart become pure. Sadly, he went before Prabhu and described what had happened. When he heard it, Mahaprabhu smiled a little and remained silent. And the Brahmana again asked him, when I took your name before him, he knew your name and spoke it himself, but he uttered your name to deride you. Chaitanya, Chaitanya, he said 3 times. The name of Krishna did not come to his mouth 3 times. He took your name in scorn, and when I heard, I was sorrowful. Be gracious to me and tell me the cause of this, for when I see you, my mouth says Krishna, Hari. And Prabhu said, the Mayavadis are opposed to Krishna. They speak senselessly of Brahma and Atma and Chaitanya. Thus the Krishna name does not come to their mouths. The name of Krishna and the Swarup are the same. The name, the Vigraha, and the Swarup, these 3 are one Rup. There is no division among the 3. The 3 are Chidananda Swarup. There is no division in Krishna between the body and the possessor of the body, nor between the name and the possessor of the name. The Dharma of the Jivas distinguishes between name and body and Swarup. Is that the verse? Nama Chintamani Si Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Swarup. Purna Shuddho Vimuktasya Abhinatva Namenamina. And then there's a quote from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Purva Vibhag, Sadhana Bhakti Lahari, quoting the Padma Purana, verse 1 to 233. Because of the undividedness of the name and the possessor of the name Krishna is the philosopher's stone. That Krishna is he whose Vigraha is Chaitanya, fully pure and eternally free. Thus the name of Krishna is the vilas of his body. End of quote, sorry. Thus the name of Krishna is the vilas of his body. It cannot be grasped by the material senses, but is self-manifested. The Krishna name, the Krishna gunas, and the various Krishna Lilas are like the Swarupa of Krishna, all consciousness and bliss. Quoting Shloka 6 from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Thus, Krishna name and the rest cannot be grasped by the senses. It is self-manifested on the tongues and so on, of those whose faces are turned towards service. Seva anmukhi jivado, swayam rupa eva spratyado. End of quote. The rasa of Lila is full of bliss, as compared to the bliss of Brahma. It attracts those who want to know Brahma by Gyan and makes them control themselves. Shloka 7 from the Bhagavad Purana is quoting 12:12:69. I bow down to that son of Vyas, the destroyer of all evil, whose mind was full of happiness, because of his having put other bhavas away, and whose essence was attracted by the beauty of the Leela of Ajit, and who has spoken compassionately of these in the Purana, like a lamp of truth. End of quote. The qualities of Krishna are full bliss, as compared to the bliss of Brahma, and thus attracts the minds of those who are Atmaramas. Quote Shlok 8 now, from the Bhagavad Purana 1.7.10. Even though they are not possessed of the books, those sages who delight in the self offer selfless bhakti to the great striding Vishnu. Of such qualities is Sri Hari. End of quote. Retaining all this regarding the feet of Krishna, the minds of those Atmaramas are conquered by the scent of the Tulasi. Quoting Shloka 9 here from the Bhagavad Purana 3.15.43. The wind bearing the perfume of the Tulasi, mingled with the perfume of the lotus feet of that lotus-eyed one, enters through the orifices and agitates the mind and body of those who are Akshara Jusas. Akshara Jusas. Akshara Jushas is Sanak and others who seek to know the bliss of Brahma. Okay, and there's further quotes there. End of quote. Thus, the Krishna name does not come to the lips of those Mayavadis who are always looking away from Krishna. I have come to Kashipur to sell my basket of bhav. If there is no one to take it, I shall not sell it, and I shall take it to my own place. I have come with a heavy load. How shall I take it away again? If I get the most meager price, I shall sell it here. Saying so, he made that Brahmana his own companion, and when he rose up in the morning, Gaurahari set off to Mathura. Those three went with him, but Prabhu forbade them, and from a distance he sent the three men home. In Viraha for Prabhu, the three remained together and sang the qualities of Prabhu, drunk in prem. Coming to Prayag, Prabhu bathed in the Veni, and seeing Madhava, he danced and sang in prem. When he saw the Jamuna, he gave a leap and fell into the water in prem. And Bhattacharya in a panic grabbed him and pulled him out. In this way, he spent 3 days at the Prayag. He saved people, giving them prem of the Krishna name. While going to Mathura in prem, Wherever he went or stayed, he caused the people to dance by the praying of the name of Krishna. As before, while going through the south, he had saved people. So now in the western country, he made everyone Vaishnavas. On the path, wherever he saw Jamuna, he would jump in, mindless of his praying. And so he drew near to Mathura, and seeing Mathura, he fell prostrate, overcome with prema. Coming to Mathura, he bathed in the Vishranti Tirtha, and seeing the birthplace of Keshava, he bowed in respect. He danced in the bliss of prema and sang and shouted loudly. And when people saw Prabhu, overcome with prema, they were astonished. We're nearly finished there. Is there much to go on? Oh yeah, I'm nearly finished. Okay. He danced in the bliss of prema and sang and shouted loudly. And when people saw Prabhu overcome with prema, they were astonished. A Brahmana came and fell, holding the feet of Prabhu, and danced with Prabhu, overcome with prema. They both danced in prema and embraced one another. Both raised their arms and said, "Say Hare Krishna." And the people shouted, "Hare, Hare," making a great commotion. The servant of Keshava put a garland around the neck of Prabhu. When they saw Prabhu, the people were amazed and said, "This Rupa and this prema could never be of this world. The sight of him makes people drunk with prema, and they laugh and weep and dance and sing, taking the name of Krishna. He is certainly and completely the avatar of Krishna, who has come to Mathura to save the people." Then Mahaprabhu took that Brahmana and sat with him a little apart and asked him, "You are an old Brahmana, venerable and simple. Where have you gotten this wealth of prema?" The Brahmana replied, "Shripad Sri Madhavendra Puri in his wanderings came to the city of Mathura. In his mercy he came to my house. He made me his pupil and took food from my hands. That great one manifested Gopal and served him, and even now the service of him continues on in Govardhana." When he heard this, Prabhu bowed at his feet, and frightened, the Brahmana fell at the feet of Prabhu. And Prabhu said, "You are my guru, and I am like your pupil. It is not proper that a guru make obeisance to a pupil." When he heard this, the Brahmana was astonished and frightened and said, "How can you, a sannyasi, say such mad things? But seeing your prema, I considered that you had perhaps some relation to Madhavendra Puri. For whoever has prema for Krishna, he has some relation to him. And except for him, there is no scent of this prema anywhere." Then Bhattacharya told him of the relationship and where he heard it. That Brahmana was overjoyed and began to dance. The Brahmana took Prabhu to his own house, and he served Prabhu according to his own wishes. He had Bhattacharya prepare food, and Mahaprabhu came and said to him, "Puri Goswami took food at your place. You give me food also. This I have learned." Whatever, I'll quote from Bhagavad Gita in the shloka 10 here is from 321 Bhagavad Gita. "Whatever better men do, others try to do. That which he does is standard authority for other people to follow." End of quote. Even though that Brahmana was a Sunadiya by caste, and though sannyasins do not eat at the houses of Sunadiyas, I think that means gold merchants, Sona means gold, still Puri, seeing that he acted like a Vaishnava, made him his disciple and accepted food from him. When Mahaprabhu asked him for food, humbly the Brahmana began to say, "Shall I give you food? That will be very lucky for me. You are Ishvara, and there are no restrictions or customs that apply to you. But stupid people will condemn you, and I shall not be able to bear the words of these evil people." Prabhu said, "As many Shrutis and Smritis and Rishis as there are, all are not of one opinion. But there are differences in Dharma from one to another. The base of the establishment of Dharma is the action of holy men, and the conduct of Puri Goswami is the essence of Dharma. There's a Shloka 11 from Mahabharat, the Vanaparvan, 313, 117. Philosophical argument is inconclusive. The Shrutis are various, nor are there rishis who do not hold various opinions. The truth of Dharma is hidden deep. Its path is that on which great people move. End of quote. Then that Brahmana fed Prabhu, and the people of Madhupuri came to see Prabhu. Numbers of lakhs of people came, there was no counting them, and going inside, Prabhu gave them darshan. Raising his arms, Prabhu said, Hari, Hari Bol. And drunk with prem, the people danced, making the Hari sound. Prabhu bathed at 24 ghats of the Jamuna. And that Brahmana showed Prabhu the pilgrimage places, Swayambhu, Vishram, Dirga Vishnu, Bhuteshwara, Mahavidya, Gokana, and the rest. He saw them all. When Prabhu had it in his mind to see the forest, that Brahmana took him himself. They went to Madhuvan and the forests of Tala, Kumuda, and Bahula, and everywhere he bathed and was overcome with prem. There were cows grazing along the path, and when they saw Prabhu, they came and surrounded him, lowing loudly. And when he saw the cows, Prabhu was dumbfounded. In a wave of prem and in affection, the cows licked his whole body. He remained very still, and he scratched their bodies, and they went with Prabhu and did not leave him. The cowherds restrained them only with difficulty. And when they heard the sound of the voice of Prabhu, deer would also come, both male and female, and when they saw his face, they would lick his body. They had no fear, and they went with him on every path. At the fragrance of his body, the deer lifted their antlers, and in his mercy, Prabhu would put his hands on their backs. When the nightingales and bees saw Prabhu, they sang the 5 notes, and the peacocks danced before him. When they saw Prabhu, the trees and creepers of Vrindavan bore down goose flesh in the form of shoots, and they rained tears of honey. Branches laden with fruits and flowers bent at the feet of Prabhu, and when a friend meets a friend, he brings a gift. When they saw Prabhu, all things of Vrindavan, moving and unmoving, were joyful, as friends when they see a friend. Seeing the love of all those, Prabhu was overcome with bhav, and he played with them all, controlled by them. Prabhu embraced each tree and creeper, and in his thoughts he had made offerings of the flowers and the rest to Krishna. His body was restless with tears and trembling and gooseflesh. In prema, he shouted in a loud voice, Krishna bol! Krishna bol! Moving and unmoving things together made the Krishna sound, echoing the deep voice of Prabhu. Holding a deer by the neck, Prabhu wept. Gooseflesh was on his body and of the deer, and tears were in its eyes. In the branches of the trees, Sukha and Sari parrots appeared, and when he saw them, Prabhu wanted to hear them speak. The Sukha and Sarika flew down and sat on the hand of Prabhu, and causing Prabhu to hear, they recited shlokas of Krishna. There's only a bit more. Mind if I finish it? Quote from Krishnadas Kaviraja's Govardhan Lila Amrita, 1329. Whose beauty crushes the restraint of women, stupefying those who delight in Lila. Whose power and strength make Govardhana a plaything, whose qualities are infinite and pure, and whose conduct pleases all, He is our Lord, the All. Praised by men throughout the universe, enchanter of the world, Krishna, the seducer, may he preserve the universe. End of quote. Hearing from the mouth of the Sukha this description of Krishna, the Sarika recited a verse describing Radha. Shloka 13, Krishna Das's Govinda Lilamrita 1330. The love, beauty, and sweet nature of Sri Radha, her skill at singing and dancing, her fullness and qualities, and her erudition shine resplendent. She who enchants the thoughts of him who charms the mind of the world. End of quote. And again the Sukha replied, Krishna is the enchanter of Madana. And then he recited another shlok from Krishnadas Kaviraja's Govinda Lilamrita 1331. O Sari, the holder of the flute, is the stealer of the minds of the women of the world. As he sports with the cowherd women, may that enchanter of Madana be victorious. End of quote. Again the Sari replied, smiling at the Sukha, and when he heard it, Prabhu was astonished and transported with prem. Quote from Krishnadas Kaviraja's Govinda Lilamrita 1332. When he shines forth in the arms of Radha, then he is the enchanter of Madan. At other times, though he is the enchanter of the universe, he himself is enchanted by Madan. End of quote. The Sukhansari again flew up to alight on the branch of a tree, and Prabhu watched with delight the dance of the peacock. When he saw the neck of the peacock, he remembered Krishna and fell on the earth, overcome with prem. Seeing Prabhu had fainted, that Brahmana together with Bhattacharya took care of him. Hurriedly they took off the outer garment of Prabhu and poured water on his body and fanned him with a cloth. They uttered the name of Krishna into Prabhu's ear. He gained consciousness and rolled around on the ground. In the rough and thorny forest, his body was injured, and Bhattacharya took Prabhu on his lap and quieted him. Absorbed in Krishna, the mind of Prabhu was seething with prem, and he rose up saying, Bull, bull, and began to dance. Bhattacharya and the Brahmana sang the name of Krishna, and dancing Prabhu made his way along the path. Seeing Prabhu under the influence of prem, the Brahmana was astonished and concerned to protect him. In Nilachala, his mind was absorbed in prem, but on the way to Vrindavan it increased 100 times. At the sight of Mathura, his prem increased 1,000 times, and when he was wandering into the forest, his prem increased 1,00,000. In other countries, prem would arise at the name of Vrindavan, and now he was actually roaming in that Vrindavan. Day and night his mind seethed in prem, and only out of habit did he succeed in bathing and eating and so on. In this way his prem, as he wandered through the 12 forests, it had been condensed in the writing, for it could not be described completely. In Vrindavan, Prabhu had many transformations, and none could describe them if he wrote 1 crore of books. But I have not been able to write an iota of it. I have done what I could in giving a suggestion of it. The world floats in the ocean of Lila of Chaitanya. Who has the strength swims in that ocean. Krishna Das, whose hope and faith lie at the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, tells of the nectar of the acts of Chaitanya. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrta. Jai Nitai, Hari Bol.
Oh, beautifully read, Dina.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I'm sure it was enjoyable as it was reading it as well.
You've got a very strong connection to Gora Lila. I feel that come through.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Well, when I was reading, actually, I observed how that when you go through just shloka by shloka and purport and so on, I missed many little things there that connected in the narration that I never saw before. So it's important to be able to hear just the pure narration,
Very nice.
Connected it all together. Would somebody else like to continue? Madan?
Is Madan there?
Okay.
Madan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Madan.
Well, Guna can continue, finish off.
She's not in here just now. If you wanted to read,
we've got 10 minutes left.
Well, you carry on.
All right. Just get myself in her view.
Okay.
Okay, so Madhya Lila chapter 18, Shloka 1. Gauranga, delighting by his glances in Vrindavan all things moving and unmoving, was by the sight of them himself delighted as he wandered to and fro. Glory, glory to Gaurachandra, glory to Nityananda, glory to Advaita Chandra and the hosts of Gaura Bhaktas. In this way, Mahaprabhu went along dancing, and when he came to Aritgram, he recovered his senses. At Arita, he asked the people the whereabouts of Radha Kunda, but no one could say. Not even his Brahmin companion knew. Prabhu was the all-knowing Bhagavan, and he knew where the lost Tirtha was. He went to bathe in a small pool of water between two fields of paddy. When they saw this, all the people of the village were astonished. In Prema, Prabhu praised the Radha Kunda. Among all the gopis, Radha is the most beloved of Krishna. So the Radha Kunda is beloved, the tank of his beloved. And again, and a quote, just as Vishnu is the beloved, this is from Laghu Bhagavatamrita quoting Uttarakanda of the Padma Purana. Just as Radha is the beloved of Vishnu, so is she a reservoir of love for him. Among all the gopis, she alone is perfectly loved by him. End of quote. In that kunda, Krishna eternally with Radhika plays games in the water and dallies with her on its bank. Whoever bathes once in that kunda, Krishna grants him a prema like that of Radha. The sweetness of the kunda is like the sweetness of Radha, and the greatness of the kunda is like the greatness of Radha. And so from Krishnadas Kaviraja's Govinda Lilamrita. Because of its own dearest and wonderful qualities, her kunda is as deeply beloved of Krishna as Radha herself. Sri Yuta Madhavindu every day plays in it with her in love. Whoever bathes in it once receives his prema like Radha. By whom can its sweetness or greatness be described in this world? End of quote. In this way, he offered praises, overcome with prema, and he danced on the bank, remembering the Kunda Lila. He took mud from the Kunda and made a tilak, and he took some mud with him by means of Bhattacharya. Who is talking?
Sorry.
Sorry. Prabhu then moved along and came to the Sumana pond, and there he saw Govardhan and was overcome. Sumana is Kushuma Sarovar. When he saw Govardhan, he bowed down. He took a stone from it and hugged it to him as if possessed. Drunk with prema, he went to the Govardhana village, and seeing Harideva there, he made obeisance. Whose dwelling is in the western petal of the Mathura lotus is Harideva Narayana, the first manifestation. Drunk with prema, he danced before Harideva. All the people came, and when they saw and heard, they were astonished. When they saw the beauty and the prema of Prabhu, the people were amazed. And the servant of Harideva came and served Prabhu. Bhattacharya went to cook at the Brahmakunda, and when he had bathed at the Brahmakunda, Prabhu ate. That night he stayed at the temple of Harideva, and in the night Mahaprabhu decided in his mind, I shall never ascend to the top of Govardhan. How shall I get darshana of Gopala Rai? Reflecting thus, Prabhu remained silent. Knowing what was in his mind, Gopala played a little trick. Shloka 4. Krishna, considerate of his bhaktas, descending from the mountain, showed himself to his own Gaura, reluctant to ascend the mountain, thinking himself a bhakta. End of quote. The place of Gopala was in a village, Annakutta by name, which was the dwelling place of Rajput people. A man came in the night and said to the headman of the village, some Turukdaris are preparing to attack your village. Flee tonight and do not leave a single person in the village. Take the Thakuru with you and flee. Tomorrow the Yavanas will come. When they heard this, the people of the village considered, and they first took Gopala and put him in Gatuli Gram. They secretly placed Gopala in the house of a Brahmana and served him. The village was destroyed and the people fled. Thus, out of concern for the mlechas, Gopala fled again and again. Leaving his temple, he would dwell in a forest and sometimes in a village. In the morning, Prabhu bathed in the Manasa Ganga and departed to circumambulate Govardhan. When he saw Govardhan, Prabhu was overcome with prema, and while moving along, dancing, he recited a shloka from Srimad Bhagavat 10:21-18. O women, this mountain is the best of the servants of Hari. For this reason, it is delighted at the touch of the feet of Balarama and Krishna, and offers them homage with cows and cowherds, by its rock, by its roots and herbs, caves and grass, and water to drink. Prabhu bathed at the Govinda Kunda and other tirthas, and there he heard that Gopal had gone to Gatuli Gram. Going to that village, he had darshana of Gopala, and overcome with prema, Prabhu danced and praised him. When he saw the beauty of Gopala, Prabhu was overcome. He danced and sang this shloka until the end of the day. From Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. May the staff of the left arm of the lotus-eyed one, with which he played with the mountain Govardhan like a toy ball, protect you. In this way he saw Gopala for 3 days, and on the 4th day Gopala went to his own temple. Prabhu went with Gopala, dancing and singing along the way, and the people shouted, Hari, Hari, in a tumult of joy. Gopala went to his own temple, and Prabhu remained at the foot of the mountain. All the desires of Prabhu were fulfilled by Gopal, for this is the merciful nature of Gopala. Whatever bhakta has a desire to see him and is anxious to see him, but cannot climb Govardhan on some pretext, Gopal himself descends. Sometimes he stays in groves, and sometimes within villages, and the bhakta coming there can see him. Rupa and Sanatan did not climb the mountain, and in just such a way did he give darshana to them. Rupa Goswami was old and could not go there, but he greatly desired to see the beauty of Gopal. For fear of the mlechas, Gopal came to Mathura city and remained there 1 month at the house of Vitaleshwara. Then Rupa Goswami brought all his own people, and staying at Mathura had darshana for a month. With him was Gopal Bhatta and Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and Lokanatha, Bhugarbha Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Yadava Acharya, and Govinda Goswami, Sri Uddhava Das and Madhava, these two, Sri Gopal Das and Narayana Das, Govinda Bhakta and Vani Krishna Das, Pundari Kaksha, Ishana and Lagu Haridas. All these chief bhaktas he took as his own companions, and in great delight they had darshana of Sri Gopala. Gopala remained there for 1 month and then went to his own place, and Sri Rupa Goswami went to Sri Vrindavana. This story has been told to explain the mercy of Gopala. Then Mahaprabhu went to Sri Kamyavan. When Prabhu saw Vrindavan, his response was exactly the same as was written of his earlier experiences. He saw there the place of the Lila and went to Nandishwara, and when he saw Nandishwara, he was agitated with prema. He bathed in all the ponds, Pavana and the rest, and going up on the hill, he asked the people, "Is there a Deva Murti on this hill?" And the people replied, "There is a Murti in the cave. On 2 sides are a mother and a father with strong bodies, and between them there is a child, beautiful in the Tribhanga pose." When he heard this, Mahaprabhu was delighted in his heart, and he entered the cave and saw the 3 Murtis. He bowed to the feet of Brajendra and Brajeshwari, and overcome with prema, he touched the whole body of Krishna. The whole day, overcome with prema, he danced and sang, and Mahaprabhu went from there and came to Kadiravan. Seeing the place of Leela there, he went to Sheshashayi, and seeing Lakshmi, the Goswami recited this shloka from the Bhagavad Purana 10:31-19. O beloved, in fear that your most delicate lotus feet be injured by our hard breasts, we place them gently down. With those lotus feet you wander about the forest. Are they not hurt by the sharp pointed stones? You are our very life, and therefore our minds are rended. Then, having seen Kelatirtha, he came to Bandiravan, and crossing the Jamuna, he went to Bhadravan. Seeing the Srivana, he went again to Lohavana and to Mahavan, where he had darshana of the place of birth. He saw Jamularjuna Banga and other places, and the mind of Prabhu was confused, overwhelmed with prema. Seeing Gokula, he came to Mathura city, and seeing the birthplace, he remained at the house of that Brahmin. Seeing the crowds of people, he left Mathura and went and stayed alone at Akrura Tirtha. Another day, Prabhu came to see Vrindavan. He bathed at the Kaliya Hrada and Praskandana. From Dwadasha Aditya, he came to Keshi Tirtha and the place of the Rasa. He fainted with prema. Again regaining consciousness, he rolled around on the ground and laughed and danced and wept and fell and sang in a loud voice. In such play he passed that day there, and in the evening he returned to Akrura and took his food there. In the morning he bathed at the Chiraghat in Vrindavan and rested at the foot of the tamarind tree. The tree was ancient, a tree of the time of the Krishna Lila, and beneath it was built a platform of most beautiful finish. Near it the Jamuna flowed, and a cool breeze blew. He gazed at the glories of Vrindavan and the waters of the Jamuna. He sat beneath the tamarind tree and made Nama Sankirtana, and after he had performed the midday rituals, he came and ate at Akrura. The people of Akrura came to see Prabhu. Because of the crowds, the people, he could not perform kirtana as he wished to do. So Prabhu went to Vrindavan and sat by himself, and he performed Nam Sankirtan until the time for noonday ritual. In the third watch, the people gained darshana of him, and he instructed all of them to make Nam Sankirtan. Should we leave it there? Is Mathura around? It's 1 o'clock. It's a good place to leave it because there's still quite a bit to go of this chapter, and that will give us somewhere to begin next time. We meet Krishnadas, the Rajput prince, But if we left it there for this time, that would be good. My